We're just sitting here laughing about Rhino's musical selection.
Way to go, man.
All right, folks.
That's why I wasn't worried about time. I knew I had all the time I needed.
You got another 22 minutes, man. We can do this all day.
We are absolutely honored to have with us today in the Element Well studio the great Perez, former producer of The Gallo Show, and, of course, former DJ of WZZQ, and Ann Ford, Jackson native, director of WZZQ The Movie. So, all right, Perez, I'm going to start off by just saying, telling a little story on you there.
Oh, God. I hate to... See, my father always told me the best time to leave a party is when somebody starts a sentence with, you remember that time?
Well, early on, when I started doing some fill-in for the late, great J.T. Williams, and I also did some guest hosting for Mr. Gallo.
Yeah.
Working with you.
Yeah.
And I was warned by our content director. Now, look, you know, we go live at 6:05 a.m., and don't be surprised if you don't see Perez till about 6:04 and 59 seconds. And sure enough, it's like, oh, crap, I can't do this thing by myself. And here comes Perez. He was still standing up, pushing buttons. He hadn't even sat down yet. Okay, I'm not through. So then a few months later, when I started filling in and guest hosting for the JT show, I come in, and I'm a little late, and you're in the green room, and you very seriously, I remember this, looked down at your watch and looked at me and said, don't you have a radio show to do? I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Pot, meat, kettle. I mean, right?
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh.
I had a minute and 30 seconds. Trust me. I have been in that room long enough to know how to do it.
My father used to say, you know, I might not be on time, but I'm never late. I have no idea what the hell that means. Exactly.
I know exactly what that means.
Well, it's great to have you. You scolded me, by the way, the first time that I guest hosted for Mr. Gallo when I referred to him as the iconic Paul Gallo, and you said, he's not dead yet.
He's not. Apparently, he's still doing the program.
He is. Well, you can be iconic without...
No.
Well, you are, in fact, a legend, and you have...
That's only because I've outlived my contemporaries.
But not an icon.
That's right. Not
but
yet.
I'm not an icon.
I haven't reached icon status.
I have not reached iconic status.
We can say that WZZQ is an icon.
Okay, that's a dead station there.
Yes. Does it get more iconic than that?
This is so fun, though. So I was speaking to Ann in the green room before the program. I'm not sure if I ever shared with you. Bill Fitzhugh and I were classmates.
I knew that.
Yeah,
we talked
at St.
about that
Joe.
before. Yeah,
and you could tell he was talented. And
oh yeah.
I mean, he was very talented, and he was one of these kids that was like, he's too cool for school kind of deal. It's like, the heck with this school stuff. I'm gonna go make some money with my talent.
We told some stories that we can inside baseball stories.
Okay.
That I shared with you, and you shared.
That's right.
When I told you, you were like, "Oh no!"
That's right.
Let me tell you what happened preschool.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly right.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? Sorry, I didn't catch it for the doc.
But you know, of course, we're here because we've got a movie.
Yes. Tonight we're having the premiere.
We are of WZZQ The Movie at
Thank
Mississippi
you.
Public Broadcasting.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, it's full.
Yeah, that's what we've heard. But that's a good thing.
Oh, no, it's going to be great.
You know, do you think that the station, WZZQ, which was the 70s were kind of its prime time, right? The mid-70s
Correct.
to the late 70s?
Yeah.
Went off the air in
81.
81. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right. And, of course, that was, my prime college years and high school years. Like everybody else, we all tuned into it. First thing I turned on in the morning.
Okay.
Garou in the morning, right? So, but it seemed to be a bit unique in the nation, and especially to have a station with that kind of star power, that program format, and that popularity in sort of a small market.
Well, I know. There were stations on the West Coast that were freeform stations.
Okay.
And how we got a freeform station
Yeah.
in the middle of
Yeah.
the Bible Belt,
In a small market.
I have no idea.
Well, you're going to find out tonight.
Well, that's why I'm going to the movies
But
tonight.
to find out, I have a feeling you had a little bit of input in that. But just thinking about all the folks that passed through there, and we're
Don't say pass. Do not utter the word.
traveled.
See, when you say the word past, what time is it? Do we have time? Because somebody may have gone in the past couple of minutes.
Ow.
Speaking of which, when the program went off the air, appropriately, the music playing was Todd Rundgren's "The Death of Rock and Roll,"
And
then the Doors, the end.
end.
This is the end, you know. So
That was the last song.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, I mean, how?
And you wonder why I don't want you to use the word past.
Okay, I got you. I mean, it was incredible, and we're very fortunate. Certainly, those of us who grew up listening to the station and enjoying the music and the entertainment, and it was especially interesting. Between like midnight on Saturday and 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning. That's when you would play like the long version of Freebird and Inagata Devita and stuff like that. And sometimes
Who would do such a thing?
the DJs would fall asleep. And of course, that's back when we were playing on vinyl LPs. And it's like,
Nobody ever fell asleep.
that's not true. You'd wake up, you hear the needle.
Somebody might have left the building to go find lunch. No one ever
2
fell.
o'clock in the morning.
Crystal on State Street was open.
That is true. That's absolutely true. I can say that I frequented it as well.
And
so.
here's something else you probably don't recall.
What's that?
You could call them, make an order,
That's
and
right.
drive through, and they would hand you the stuff out the window. And of course, every now and then, the train would be coming down the street, and you couldn't get back the way you left, so you had to go around the other way on Meadowbrook. Don't get me started.
Okay. Is that why the album was just split?
Every now and then
You're in your car waiting on the train, just chugging crystals. I can see it. I can see it.
Did I just tell my?
Yes.
Are there crimes that I committed? Is there a statute of limitation on those crimes?
Well, I want to know, who was the graphic artist that came up with all these logos? Because we all had the orange and blue sticker.
Wasn't that
That
David?
was
Green, I
no.
guess.
Well, okay,
Aqua.
the orange and the aqua and green one was actually done by
Aqua and orange.
Dixie Geis.
Okay.
What about the first one?
The first one?
That was.
I think that was Adcock.
I think that was Ed.
Who's the one that, remember the saxophone, the guy kind of prancing?
But was it?
You remember that one?
I
With the
know
big
which one.
saxophone?
Yeah.
That was David.
That must
Like a
have been.
cartoon character.
That
That was
must have
David
been.
as well?
David
I think that
Adcock,
was
yeah.
David.
Tell us about those guys. And unbelievably talented, were they not?
David and Sergio. David was program director, right?
Yes.
And then Sergio was kind of music director.
Well, production director, I think maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But together they were the production.
Unbelievable.
They were a production team to beat. God, what was the one they did? They did a spot for the Converter.
Oh yeah, the FM converter.
Yeah. I remember. Gosh, I
Oh, they
remember
did
that.
several, and
And who can forget Tune Still Too? Unbelievable, right?
know.
after the ZZQ days, but lasted and was his own thing for years and years.
Unbelievable.
And Sam Adcock, David's son, kept it going for a long time too.
Okay, such a great voice as well. So,
Yep.
what was it like switching from the ZZQ format to this more serious talk radio? I guess you could call it that. You weren't serious.
I was
A
here
lot of times we're not serious.
I was here for the yucks.
That's awesome.
No, it was fun. I never thought I would make the transition from music to talk, but I tried to keep what I was doing sort of in the music place.
Yeah.
But again, I was literally here for the yucks. I mean, why are we serious at 6 o'clock in the morning?
No, I agree, and something you're so great at is the music selection, which, for a more serious format, talk format, you, of course, knowing all things music, were always great. in selecting music. Of course, Rhino's fantastic at that.
Exactly.
That's a big part. A lot of the fun part, really. I mean, I get that all the time. I know you do too. So, man, I really like the music. You didn't hear what we said at the talk, and that's fine. I tune in for the music. That's okay.
They played In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida this morning. Did you hear it?
Yep.
All right, we got the great Perez in the Element Well studio, as well as Ann Ford. We're going to take a break and come right back and talk about WZZQ The Movie.
There's only one thing missing.
Hey, man, what's happening?
Well, let me ask you, Perez. Did the needles on the turntables at WZZQ play a little Pink Floyd here and there?
Yes, of course they did.
Okay, so...
Do you know how long Low Spark of High Heel Boys is?
No, I don't.
It's over 11 minutes.
I didn't know that.
You know how far you can... No, I never mind.
How long did you say In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida is?
You could,
It's long.
It's long.
The long version of Light My Fire is pretty long, too, isn't it?
It's 7 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Almost long enough to get back.
Why are you asking me these
I
questions?
don't know, because you know it all. That's why. no
And
other
why
reason.
do I still know these
That's
things?
true. It's kind of useless trivia these days.
It is useless
Except for us old
information.
guys that love that genre and that era of music for sure. And WZZQ brought it to us. But you know what I remember is it was stereo. I mean, that was a big deal. FM stereo when we went to that format, right?
Yeah, well, Bruce Owen said that in the beginning in the very beginning it was mono.
That's right.
And a couple of months after it started, it went to stereo.
I remember.
And yeah, Bill has a great story. Bill Fitzhugh has a great story about that.
Yeah, my dad, as I recall, and I don't know when they went stereo, but he bought a 71 Cadillac, and that's back when the radio tuners would have the little light that would say stereo, when you were tuned into us to know you weren't on mono. And it was just fun to tune that in. Wow, stereo in a car. I mean, you think about what a novelty that was in those days. And ZZQ, of course, pushed out that signal that way. It was pretty neat. Mm-hmm. So what can you tell us, Ann, about the movie without spoiling it for us? What can we expect?
Wait a minute. In 1981, the station went off the air.
We know that.
Okay.
It dies in the end.
Spoiler alert, it dies. Correct.
Well, I can tell you that there's not a scripted word in it. The entire thing is first-person interviews and original WZZQ audio.
Cool.
So if that's what you're into, you're going to be happy, happy, happy.
Yeah. Out on Beasley Road, the station, right?
Started out at WLBT on Jefferson.
Okay. I didn't know
Upstairs.
In a closet.
What? Tell me more about that.
Downtown? I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. The TV studio was downstairs. And upstairs, there was a closet that somebody said, we can put a radio station in this closet, and then nobody who's claustrophobic will ever work here. Well, actually, I wasn't claustrophobic, but this is paradise. This studio, the original studio is probably
Talking about the one we're in. The one we're in.
The one
yeah,
we're in.
Yeah.
The control room.
Yeah.
Now, you got to imagine hundreds of records
Right.
in there with you, Rhino, and you got 2 turntables and a microphone, and you've got to close the door because there's a television production downstairs.
What about the tapes for the ads? Did you have
The
that?
cart machine?
Yeah.
Certs.
Okay.
We had one spot on Sundays in the noon hour after church.
Okay.
It was a search spot. I just remember
Certs.
that right now. I don't know where the hell that came from.
Certs.
Wow.
And that was it. So spots were not an issue.
Gotcha.
The issue was, how am I going to get home at 6 o'clock? Okay.
So when they moved to Beasley Road?
I wasn't here. I was in exile.
1973.
Okay.
That was when they split ways with WLBT and built the new station out at Beasley Road, which is still there today and is now Miss 103.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I remember. It's not too terribly far from Callaway High School.
No, it's not at all.
Yeah.
And they had lovely tennis courts up until several years ago.
Okay.
That's just me and my little idiot.
And I've heard stories that there was maybe you could confirm this, that
What?
there was a WZZQ softball team.
I never played softball.
And
I played
they actually-
basketball.
Basketball.
right.
I remember the basketball team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and right, and we have that. There's a little bit in that about the basketball team in there too. But that there was a softball team. They had it mowed down as a field in one corner of the. No, not ringing any bells. Okay.
I told you I was
Randy Bell would know.
I was in exile
Okay.
in the eastern part of the state for a while.
All right.
Yes.
We have stations over there too.
Yeah, that's right.
And I've been to the station in Meridian on more than one occasion.
Okay.
But the basketball team,
I remember that.
they went all over the place.
Right.
Yes.
And would play the games in the evenings and then sort of start the broadcast off in the morning and give an update and a recap of all that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh yeah. big deal for those high
I
schools
remember
when
that.
they came to
yeah,
play.
just going around to the high schools.
Yeah.
Playing.
We have some wonderful photos.
Oh, I bet
don't,
that's
I don't wanna-
fantastic.
but they're really great.
I seem to recall that often there would be a discussion about the shorts.
Well, the shorts back in the day, as you recall.
Short shorts.
Well, yes, they were much like the NBA shorts.
They were short
They were very short.
and tight.
Like bikinis.
We were younger and thinner
That's
then.
correct. Okay, you get a pass on that. So what was the inspiration to make the movie?
Yeah, what drugs were you on when you?
All right, look. I left. I grew up in Mississippi. I left after high school. I started working in media. Worked for Turner, TNT, TCM, and in promotions, doing promotions. And when I did it, the more promos I wrote and produced, the more I realized the debt that I owed to Sergio Fernandez and David Adcock in particular, and all the guys on ZZQ, all the folks on ZZQ, because I kind of knew how to do it. And I knew how to do it because I listened to them. And so, when I moved back, it was just, you ever have that thing that's in the back of your head? It's like, I want to do that thing someday.
Sure.
Well, I was talking to Bill Ellison, who's a neighbor of mine.
Okay.
And he mentioned,
Who's also on the panel this
who's also
evening.
on the panel this evening and in the movie, who said, we should, somebody should do a documentary about WZZQ. I thought, I kind of want it to be me. And that was the beginning of it. And all the way along, everybody has been so enthusiastic, so encouraging, so supportive. Nobody said no.
That's so cool. Well, I started out as the FM component of WJDX, right?
Yes,
WJDX FM. It had
Well,
an AM and had an FM.
You were there.
That's what it
were
was
you not?
when it was at WLBT,
When
right?
it was downtown, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to say? You want to tell that?
I was downtown for a while, and then I was run out of town. It's okay. I survived.
Not bitter.
I'm
Yeah, I
not
would
bitter.
say.
Oh no, not me. I'm still PO'd about people who have already gone.
Yeah, I've heard. It started out, WJDX AM was easy
Yes.
listening.
62.
Yeah. I remember that. 62, JDX.
62
Well,
JDX.
and it began, at first it was AM and then the FM came on and it was simulcast.
That's right. Okay.
And then I think the FCC said no simulcast.
Okay.
And they moved it to an easy listening format and then they moved to a free-form rock format. And there's a great story about that, which
Is in the movie.
is in the
So,
movie.
how did you guys figure out what to play, literally? How did you select the music? Wasn't scripted or scheduled, was it?
No, it was mostly, as Bruce said, you'd come up with an idea and you would just play whatever the heck was in your head. And did you leave the line about washing machines in?
I did.
Okay. So if you were thinking to yourself, I didn't do my laundry today, and you could think of 3 songs about washing machines, you could play 3 songs of 7 to 8 minutes long about washing machines. And people would go, why is he playing 3 songs about washing machines? But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Bruce Poose?
Bruce Owen.
Oh, you're thinking of, okay, yeah, that was later. I think that was
Okay.
on TYX.
Okay.
But that was Bill Ellis.
I couldn't remember when, that
Yeah,
transition
yeah,
was
yeah.
made. That's kind of a funny gig, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty good.
Well, and you raise a great point, which is that there were lots of good radio stations here, lots of great talent, I focused on ZZQ because that's what meant the most to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think and people seem to really respond to that.
Yeah.
But it's it's not to say, I mean, Miss 103 went on to be a great station.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, great.
Did it?
I'm trying.
So
I'm trying to be magnanimous here. I
don't
love
have to
ZZQ,
be.
but
I don't have to be.
But the timing was such, if you think about it, the free form of the station and just randomly picking out whatever you wanted to play. How would you do that today with the current music?
Stop.
You could.
Stop.
You could.
Stop.
It's not even music, really.
No, it's people in a room with computers.
That's right.
And I mean, I like some music with computers, like Kraftwerk.
Yeah.
But the stuff that I'm not bitching about it.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff out there that's garbage.
Yeah, I know.
whew, somebody sounds
What?
well, like you.
I think you've earned the right to be a critic.
Yes,
in
you
that
have.
respect, no doubt about
Yes,
it.
you have, and you know of what you speak.
Yeah. You guys want to hang around? We can keep talking a little bit.
All right.
I mean, since you're here and you're on time, we might as well keep talking. We're coming right back with the great Perez and Ann Ford, director of WZZQ The Movie. Okay. Freddie Mercury and Queen. We're talking to the legendary Perez.
But non-iconic.
Not iconic. And Ann Ford, the director of WZZQ The Movie. So we were talking offline there, Ann, about just some memories we have growing up listening to the station, WZZQ. And I just shared with me, it was this anticipation of your favorite songs or a song that you really enjoyed and being able to hear it in that crystal clear stereo, especially in a vehicle, which had really good acoustics relative to just
absolutely.
a small little stereo stack, in the house. And in those days, you didn't have all the streaming services and digital music, and you had to go buy record albums, and I couldn't afford it, honestly. So even though they weren't that expensive, it's still a lot of money in those days. And so you would anticipate and really enjoy that music when it would come on. And you could also sometimes call and request, right? Had some degree of that. You didn't always get honored, those requests.
No.
But something you said, Ann, that struck me, that I agree. We all had that in common. It's like, yeah, we all listened to that. And I remember, as you pointed out, listening to it on the way to school, especially when I started driving. And then we'd get to school, and you'd find out your friends, your schoolmates had been listening, and you'd sometimes talk about, some of the music and so forth. So it was kind of a common bond.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember I went to Wingfield, and I remember, in the morning that we all parked on the hill, and you'd listen to it in your car, and then when you got out to go to class, you'd hear it playing in everybody else's cars all the way down the hill.
Did you ever drive the Magic Bus? That's what I want to know, Perez. God help us if you did.
No, I never drove the bus. I was in the bus on more than one occasion, much to my chagrin.
It drove him.
Because there is nothing. Being on television, which we are now every time you're in here.
Yeah.
But being in a space.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And you are not used to people standing and staring at you. Now, the place that I most remember doing that was at the fair.
Yeah,
now, you're in the middle of the fairgrounds.
With a bunch of gawkers.
Well, the people. Now, I'm going to go back in the Wayback Machine with you.
Okay.
You could buy buckets of beer.
I remember that.
Okay? So you've got people drinking beer staring at you. Why are you staring at me?
That's exactly right. I do remember.
Honestly, I'm thinking about the buckets of beer. Was it like a bucket of bottles of beer? Or was it like a bucket with a straw?
It was beer in little
buckets. Okay, got it.
And
like a quart or something like that.
Got it.
But you could, and at this point,
I'm trying to recreate that experience.
No. I was just realizing I was about to tell you a story, and I realized I can't tell that story on the air because, again, the statute of limitations may not have run out.
And the bus was like all glass.
It was all glass.
So people could look at you like a fish in an aquarium.
Like you were a monkey in a cage. It was horrible. It was. I mean, after a while you got used to it, but the first hour, And they would make you go and sit in there and do a show, and you're like, please, anything. Really? And and of course, you couldn't partake of any of these buckets of beer because that's against the law.
Well, we should talk to Mr. Davenport about resurrecting the magic bus. We could get Scary Gary to drive it to our remotes. How about that, Rhino?
You know Gary would do that, right?
You absolutely would. There's no doubt about that. The accommodations aren't quite on the par, though, right?
Wait a minute. Now, having been an employee at this here fine company, I would much rather go in the RV.
I hear you. It's a pretty comfortable setup, isn't it?
That's a fine setup.
No doubt about it.
They can't see you.
That's right. You can just escape, lay
go
down.
in there and take a little nappy. No.
Sometimes folks that travel with us do that. Well, I'm out talking. It's like, I don't want to hear that guy talk. I'm going to go to sleep. That's exactly what happens. All right, so the premiere.
Yes.
Give us that information about that again.
Okay, premieres Monday, this coming Monday, May 20th, on Mississippi Public Broadcasting, MPB, at 8 p.m.
Okay.
And there's going to be a few other, if you want me to,
Yeah.
we have a few other airings here, too, to tell you about. First airings, Monday, May 20th at 8 p.m. It also airs Friday, May 24th at 7:30 p.m. It airs Saturday, May 25th. That's next Saturday at 7 p.m. Sunday, May 26th at 4:30 p.m. and Thursday, May 30th at 2 p.m.
Yeah, sounds great.
All on MPB. And also available streaming on the MPB and PBS apps.
Very cool. Perez,
Yes, sir.
congratulations on a fantastic career. I mean that. You
Yes,
have
congratulations.
touched a lot of people. You've entertained a lot of folks. And, of course, you kept Mr. Gallo straight for all those years as well. Much appreciated. And, Ann, I can't wait to see it, man. It's going to be fun, I know.
Hope you like it. I think you will.
I guarantee it'll be a big hit. Appreciate you guys coming in. It's been fun. Thanks.
No problem.
Yep.
Thanks. Take care.
We're
Thank you.
stepping aside for Fox News and SuperTalk News. We're coming right back.